Hi everyone. Hi.
That was a nice hi.
This is Akshaya.
And this is Mallu, Malvika, darling.
We're recording something after a long time. I think close to a month.
Yes. And I know you guys have noticed that we didn't have a reflection video in the middle.
Yeah, we didn't do a reflection for grief and we didn't do a reflection for the NRI life. So we should do that now.
Yeah.
And another feedback we got is one of our episodes was too long.
Yes.
Which was 52 minutes. Where we spoke about missing Diwali and the NRI life that goes with it.
So that was also a topic close to our hearts, guys. So I mean,
we should have part 1 and part 2 to entice people. But we've got all that feedback, so we're going to keep this short. But quick reflections on both episodes, the NRI life and the grief one.
Okay, quickly, like I said, it was the NRI life was a video or a podcast where we felt like we wanted to talk about it because we were, we were missing home and Duality was right around the corner. We were making plans and we were doing stuff and it was close to heart. I still feel, what I said, and it was an exciting episode because we got to share some truths about living an NRI life and some truths about how it happens and how we did it and what struggles we saw, but what joys we saw. One of the good things that came out of moving was meeting you or meeting more people like you or friends that I now call family. So exciting, and the whole podcast was really refreshing and nice to do because again it felt like I was just chatting with a friend.
Yeah, I also want to add to that. I mean, I second everything that you just said, and I feel like it was very conversational because it was, like you said, very close to our hearts. And something that I realized and reflected on after the podcast released was it does not have to be that you move internationally to feel what we were talking about. I think if you just leave home to another state or to another city, there are these nuances that you feel about leaving home but making another home that you would have probably related to on the podcast. So I thought that was super relatable. That's what friends and cousins told me too.
That's an interesting point. I just think of it now, like what if me and Priyank would have gotten married and then lived just somewhere in one of the Indian cities, and we would have again built our own space, our own house. We would have kept it the way we want, not as per our parents want, and things like that. So it's interesting because that also gives you the feeling of leaving your parents' house and coming to your own house and your own space. That also is a similar feeling. So I guess people would have experienced it as well, but not to an extent or not to a level maybe how we felt it by moving.
But I think you feel so unsettled when you leave your home, but it's bittersweet. So you feel unsettled because you've left home. But then you're also making so many new memories and so many, you're discovering yourself also in a new place. So it's very bittersweet. Is what I felt even when I watched parts of the podcast. But I do love one particular part, which is also one of our reels on our social medias, which is why we miss Bombay so much. Bombay is like a giant hug. And I've gone back and back and back to that reel and I watch that and I smile.
I love it.
Because I think that just sums up the whole thing. Like you love what you're achieving in this home, but you're always going to miss your home back home because it's a giant hug.
It is. And like everyone says, Mumbai is a giant hug. It's a feeling. It's not a city for most of us, and I know people who don't have that same experience with Mumbai will not understand it. But wherever your hometown is, right, wherever your heart is settled, that's what we mean, and that's the emotion we are trying to bring out. But that was a great podcast. I listened to it.
If you haven't watched it, and we know you haven't because only we've got very less views on that. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. Watch it in fast forward or on 1.5x or 2x or something.
We do it, so you should too.
You might like. After telling my husband multiple times not to disturb us, I can hear the powder box.
Hey.
And a bell.
Well, this is a
BTS content.
No, well,
or we'll just keep it.
We'll keep it. This is a way where when he becomes a part of our podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Because
never shows his face
never,
on the podcast.
Yeah, he never wants to come and be a part of the podcast. But
no, we should get Suraj as a special.
Yes,
how Priyank came.
Yes, I want him to come, but I guess only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Okay, grief very quickly then.
That was a tough topic, and I think I expressed it to you
in private. You did
in private, and then when I reposted it, many people asked me, what do I mean when I wrote that it's a tough topic? I said, you listen to it and then you'll realize. And then most of them did, and they were like, yeah, just thinking about grief takes you back to so many memories, and it's tough to go back to those memories, right? And so this was a tough topic. My husband and his friends gave me the feedback that, listen, if you are looking to keep this podcast light-hearted, then maybe this is not a topic that you should, be talking about. Though it's a great topic, it's hard for me to continue watching it.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good feedback, but also a point that you and Krishna did an amazing job talking about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Imagine like you not falling apart, or imagine that conversation going any other way where you are trying to just, talk about about a topic, and you're now going back to the memories of grief, and that's hard, right? And you both stayed, calm and composed and regulated, and it was obviously great to watch. People who are in the field of mental health, they got back saying that it's a great topic. It's like I mentioned, it's a hard one to listen to apply in your own life, but again, it's something that we need to bring out there. And it should be a part of discussion when you're having a conversation with your therapist, or when you're going into counseling sessions. These things need to be discussed, and so it's a sensitive topic, but it's a good one.
Thank you. I fully understand what you are saying, and even that feedback from Priyank's friends, etc., right? Because it is an uncomfortable topic, so I know it's not for everyone. Having said that, even if it gets 5 views, I think these are things that I'm very passionate about. I know Krishna is.
I love it,
also, it's something that, of course, you discuss with your therapist and mental health team, but also we are hoping, I think most mental health professionals that I know, most of my colleagues would say this, the idea behind doing such conversations is that these conversations are out there with everyone. It doesn't have to only be with the mental health professional. Sure, it makes us uncomfortable. Sitting with grief is very difficult. Knowing how to respond, not respond, sitting in silences, things we've spoken about on the podcast are very difficult. It makes us feel very awkward. And rightly so, because it's not something that we were taught in school or in our families and neighborhoods. But we are hoping this podcast is a start.
I think that's such a good idea, right? Because when we talk about mental health, we always think that, hey, what about the people who don't have access to mental health professionals? How are they regulating their emotions? And so if anyone is listening to us, and if they think that, they're going through something like this and they have no one to talk to, they should be seeing us and understanding that all of us go through something like this. And knowing that might give them a little bit of, what's it called?
Courage? I don't know.
Yeah, hope? Maybe hope, a silver lining, a ray of sunshine, courage to actually speak up, courage to internalize and do some introspection to understand where you're at.
Yeah.
And if you're at like the severe end of an emotion, then try and bring yourself back to a space where you are, okay to function on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not able to do it, then at least know better that you need help.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think, I think both those topics of conversation or podcasts that we are reflecting on today bring out a different perspective. One was a very light-hearted perspective.
Not fully light-hearted. I mean, there was longing and grief there also.
There too, and also remember how that movie of emotions, what's it called? Yeah, Inside Out. Talks about that every happy memory is associated to some kind of sadness, or the other way. Am I right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, but I would say that there is a duality.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think both those topics were important to discuss. Absolutely. Close to our hearts. I wish I could have been there with you and Krishna during that talk. Yeah. I can't think of what I would have added to the conversation, but because also, like I said, I've never been a part of a conversation which talks about grief so openly. So I would love to talk to you and Krishna about it. Maybe for part 2 we can have her again. And this time we
feel this about most of our guests, and we should
so I don't know how I'll be or what I'll say. Maybe I'll give you like a layman perspective, because again, it's not something that I actively talk to people about, because I avoid it, and I have been avoiding
honest.
it. I'm being honest, right? I avoid it completely, whether it is a friend, a partner, a family member. I just prefer not to be in that situation because I'm awkward, or I don't know what to do, or I don't know what to say. So I avoid grief and grief talks. So
most people do.
Let's take that as the next step. Me putting myself in an uncomfortable situation and learning how to deal with it. So, I'm courageous enough to do that.
Like I was courageous once upon a time when you made me do Jane Fonda aerobics
oh my
exercises. I was also out of my comfort zone, but I did it. So you can talk about grief.
Yeah, you're gonna.
No, but again, for those who've not watched the grief podcast, it may be uncomfortable, but that's a shorter podcast episode. So maybe you want to fast forward, and maybe you'll relate to some parts, and it may help.
Yes. But
and thank you to Krishna. She was our guest.
She was amazing. I can't wait to meet you, Krishna. I hope you come to Dubai, or I meet you in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have a part 2 with her.
Yeah.
And we'll have many parts for the NRI discussion, because we can go on and on about it.
Yeah. Even if it's long. Deal with it. That's the point of this whole podcast, guys. We are just talking about things we usually talk about. So we don't have an agenda. We don't have clickbait topics. And so I'm just letting you guys know. I'm letting Mallu know. I know she is already on board with this. But I was thinking on the same lines, I was going through our YouTube channel and seeing each podcast views, and some have 350 views, some have 296 views and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's so less compared to, let's say, like people are getting millions of views. And then I genuinely, for perspective's sake, told myself, listen, can you imagine what 300 is? Like if you put 300 sticks in front of you, or 300 spoons in front of you, that's a lot of people. And if those people are listening to you, and if it, percolates even from those 300 views to, let's say, 20 people, I mean,
that's pretty good. Right. Again, not clickbait content, but this is genuine conversations between two friends and our extended family and friends.
Yes.
So, see if you like it. Continue watching, continue subscribing, sharing. We'll continue talking about such topics and different topics.
Varied.
So we'll keep it interesting and exciting for us. So you just hop onto this boat, I guess. Well, thanks again for watching. And
we thought it would be a short reflection. Now we'll just find out.
Well, we'll find out. See you guys.
Bye.